it does resonate with people very strongly, because when you do spread a bit of truth somewhere where there's lots of lies being told, it makes people stop and think. And George Orwell said that in times of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. And that's what we're trying to do. What you guys try and do, what we try and do in London, is to just tell the truth. And as an American author, was it Huckleberry Finn or Tom Sawyer, he said, always tell the truth, then you never need to remember anything. And that's a good thing, because I don't have the world's best memory. So yeah, go ahead.
So you're saying it's a love revolution then?
It is a love revolution, but I'm sometimes uncomfortable with the whole hippie peace and love and light, you know, that whole thing, because we are facing a very serious problem. And the solution needs to be, obviously the end goal is love. To me, love is the only force which truly exists in the universe. But we need to be careful as to not just go the way of the hippies in the 60s and just start believing that everything will be okay if we just love in our hearts and make ourselves okay. Because I think a lot of people, they get involved in the truth movement, they become very spiritual, and then they disappear into some Buddhist temple somewhere and forget about the fight. You've got to fight the good fight. You need to think of this as a human issue, not just as your own issue. So
the love really needs to inspire action.
It does, yeah. But what we like to use with the love police, because the word police is obviously, it has negative connotations nowadays. The police obviously were brought about by the people to protect and to serve. But now the police don't seem to act like that, either in London or in New York. So we are called the love police. So it's making fun of the police by using a hippie term, but with a very serious undertone to it. So to answer your question, Danny, yes, it is a love revolution, ultimately, but we need to be careful to not disappear into some hippie spiritual hole, really.
Yeah. So why do you feel that we need a revolution?
I could probably speak to you for the next 6 hours and give you a million reasons why we need revolution. If it's not for the 25,000 children dying of starvation per day, if it's not for the over-corporatization of every single facet of the capitalist state we have, I'm all for capitalism. We've been trading as a species for thousands of years, you know, like I'm in the jungle, I've got a dead raccoon, I want some bananas, we trade, that's capitalism. But corporatism, as Mussolini said, the corporate state is the fascist state. And a big issue we have in London is that everything in central London is being turned into a private property area. Even the River Thames, you know, the main river that flows through London, the whole bank of it, left bank, right bank, is private property. And as we know, in a corporate zone, in an office, you know, when you work for a corporation, the simple rules of free speech, of humanity do not apply. You can't go to your boss, your manager, and express your ideas about 9/11.
And they're doing that here in New York City, especially in Times Square, like we witnessed yesterday, with the police trying to stop us because we pretty much didn't have $1 million to buy advertisement. We just got a permit and started bullhorning. You want to talk about what happened last night?
Yeah, it was Harvey and I were with the Love Police here. We joined these guys, and it was our first outing, really. We went to Ground Zero the day before, but Times Square was a big reminder as to some of the problems we faced.
Let's go to a clip. We have a clip from the street actions we've been doing over the last couple of days. We'll go to the clip, and then we can come back and talk a little bit more.
Let's have a look.
We have now commandeered this place. This is Operation Times Square. We have taken over authority from the NYPD, and we are now in charge of Times Square. Everyone must smile, you must laugh, you must be happy, or we will beat you with our truncheons of love. This is a message to the NYPD. People with firearms are not allowed here anymore. You have 20 seconds to comply. You must vacate the area. People with guns are not welcome in Times Square. You give your attention to all the nice bright lights. Don't bother going to nature. Your new god is advertising and the corporate state. Please ignore this dangerous Al-Qaeda terrorist message. It's very important that you shop as quickly as possible. Your brain should only have corporate-controlled messages being going into it. Your brain should not allow crazy people with megaphones and bullhorns to tell you that everything is okay. Don't forget the steroids you need to take to be accepted in our society with muscles. And if you want to be great in sports with our great sports heroes, you have to take that little needle in your butt so you grow your muscles. You don't need those muscles. You don't need fake boobs.
You don't need the stupid perfumes that smell like crap to be accepted in society. You are a human being, and you don't need bad crap.
Everything is not okay. You are not a beautiful spiritual being. You are a consumer. Make sure you stop any thoughts of fear, depression, humiliation by taking as much Prozac and Xanax as you can. And you, sir, wipe that smile off your face. It's not good for the economy.
Smiling is illegal. You will be traced in the FBI database for not shopping. Where are your shopping bags, sir? You are not helping to this consumer economy.
Ladies and gentlemen, everything is okay.
But dealing with the problems we have in this world today, what do you envision as a solution to everything we face?
It's going to be very complicated and very difficult because we've had now probably about 70 years of mass hypnosis, brainwashing. Television is probably the biggest enemy of this because television does two things. It hypnotizes you and makes you also feel less than perfect. And when people feel powerless because they don't look like the kids on Beverly Hills 90210, they don't look glamorous like Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle. That's her name? Yeah? Michelle Obama. Mm-hmm. So I foresee a kind of a revolution of, there's a kind of global awakening happening anyway, thanks, I think, in part to the internet. Technology is the footprint of consciousness, and the internet, although it's full of bullshit as well, you find a lot of shit on the internet, you'll also find that there is a lot of very good information, and we have this global mind now. We have millions of individuals being able to spread information as one, so the timing is perfect. And what I foresee in the next couple of years is a situation where, I know Cindy Sheehan's organizing this here in Washington, D.C., but to have 1 million or 2 million people congregate around the center of power and not leave, because that's the big problem with protests in London, is that people will protest, wave their flags, and then go home for a cup of tea afterwards. So the police just have to wait it out. Whereas if 2 million people took over the centre of London, outside Buckingham Palace, which is the Queen's Palace, outside Downing Street, outside Parliament, and refused to leave, we need to work really hard with the armed forces and the police to make them realize that they work for the people, not for the Queen. Even though they swore an oath to the Queen, it's all lies, and we need them to be prepared to not open fire on the people. Because once the police protection, once the armed forces protections of the elites evaporates, then they're exposed. Yep. There's nothing there. You can literally walk in and bring about a revolution without firing a single shot.
Yeah. Go ahead. We have an organization here in the United States called Oath Keepers, which basically that's what their mission is, to educate the armed forces and police on the oath that they swore was to the Constitution, which represents the people, as opposed to the elite or corporate interests, political interests.
Yeah, we also here in New York City tried to make the police understand that we're all people, we're all family members, and the way they treat people on the street, that could be their family members. And one thing we do, we humanize it. We tell them that the elites, the government, they don't care about them. On 9/11, just a couple blocks away from this studio, they lied and said the air was safe to breathe when it wasn't. Yep. And they, ruined 50,000 lives of service men and women of this country, proud men and women of New York City. And they're not even getting any help that they need. Yeah. So one thing we did as an organization, we hold fundraisers, we help them out. You can go on our website, WeAreChangers.org, and help participate as well. And we have fundraisers and all these other charity events, and we take all the money and we give it to the police and the military and the fire department and let them know that the government and the elites, they will lie to you just to open up the stock market right here. Yeah. And that kind of humanizes it because they're supposed to be serving the people, not the elites, not protecting the corporations and these supermarkets and Walmarts and Kmarts, and they're supposed to be protecting us. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the message we're all trying to get out there to. But in New York City, we're concentrating on the police. What message do you want to spread to the people in America and all over the world? What is your, if you could say one thing to the people out there, what would it be?
That for a very long time now, governments have become a virus, a parasite on the people. Your Constitution outlines very clearly how government is there to serve the people. I don't think anyone now would argue that the government is serving the people very much. As you just mentioned, the 9/11 first responders. I met one the other night, and he was wheezing and coughing, sweating. Mike McCormick.